Today we're going to be talking about why it can be so difficult to talk about a chronic illness and a disability. Hi, I'm Jameson, and welcome to my channel. I'm an award-winning author and writer who's written for the New York Times, the LA Times, Washington Post, and others on topics relating to chronic illness and disability. If those things interest you, please subscribe to my channel. From my personal experience, there are a few reasons why it can be difficult. It wasn't until the last few years that I became comfortable talking about it. When I got sick in 2010, I was a fitness instructor and a personal trainer. I had created this image of myself in my mind, and that I tried to portray externally, that I was at the pinnacle of health and fitness and well-being. So when I got sick, I became very self-conscious of how that contradicted the image that I had worked so hard to create. So I was very reluctant to talk about my illness because it very much went against, um, my livelihood and what I was trying to portray outwardly. But life is funny and unfair sometimes, and it just kind of forced me to accept that this was fate and reality, and eventually I had to embrace it. And I resisted it for years. um, it really wasn't until 2015, about 5 years after I first got sick, and had been living with a chronic illness for that whole time. Then in 2015, I became bedridden and I couldn't speak or eat solid food. I had to rely on caregivers to take care of me. I couldn't even lift my head off the pillow. I was sicker than I could have ever imagined as a personal trainer and a fitness instructor. Um, and so as I gradually recovered from that level, that severity of illness, I embraced that the status of having an illness and being that sick, and considering myself to have a disability. But it really took becoming that sick for me to acknowledge that, and to feel more comfortable talking about it. I mean, still to this day, I don't feel entirely comfortable talking about it. I mean, it's not really the first thing that I want to bring up in a conversation if I'm talking to somebody, but sometimes I have to, because for a couple reasons. I mean, one, just to protect myself, because other people can have certain expectations about what I can do, if they don't, especially if they don't know that I'm sick. So if they don't know that I'm sick, they might think that I can do all these things, whether it's, walking around, or, meeting them somewhere, or, talking at length about stuff, going into, out into a crowded restaurant or something. Those are things that I can't do. So if I don't tell them, then how can I expect them to know that? You can't expect them to know that. Um, so in those cases, it really benefits me, even though it's difficult, to tell them and to be forthcoming. And to that doesn't necessarily mean that I feel comfortable doing it. But that's just how it is, I guess. So I've been thinking about why it took me so long to feel more comfortable talking about it, and or even talk about it at all in general. And I think that there's a few reasons. I mean, one was just that I had created that fitness persona, and I was, at the pinnacle of health and fitness, and I was felt sort of, embarrassed or shamed that, how can I, how can I be that and sick at the same time? And I mean, the truth was is I couldn't. So really, eventually, I had to let go of that fitness persona, but that's okay, because, you know, not to get super philosophical or whatever, or existential, but we are so much more than one thing. I am so much more than one thing. I am so much more than that fitness persona, and I've and it really took me getting sick to realize that. And it so in some ways, getting sick has been a gift in that way. It's really taught me that I am more than just that one thing, that fitness persona. Another reason that it took me a while to get comfortable talking about my illness and my disability is that I didn't want the attention. And I'm not against attention, obviously, because I'm making YouTube videos and I've written essays, um, and I've written on my blog for years. But before that, when I was a fitness instructor and personal trainer, I didn't want, as I said, I didn't want to be seen as a sick person. I didn't want to be known as a sick person. I wanted to be known as a healthy, pinnacle of fitness person. And so when I got sick, I didn't, that's not the type of attention that I wanted. So I really was reluctant to talk about it because I was afraid that I would attract that kind of attention. Um, the irony of it is that now that I've had this illness for over a decade now, um, that is what I'm known for most broadly, I would say, is being a sick person. And I'm okay with that. It's taken me becoming this sick and really seeing, how this illness, myalgic encephalomyelitis, and other chronic illnesses affect people, how other disabilities affect people, and how they change their lives, how they, um, you know, the things that they have to sacrifice, the things that they have to give up in their life, to uh, to just sort of survive within that existence of being chronically ill and or disabled. So um, now I don't mind the attention, obviously, because I'm making videos and writing essays and stuff about it. But I think initially, that was something that I just didn't want, and that's okay too. Lots of people still feel that way, and I totally I totally get it. I totally understand. Empathize with them because I felt that same way. So I know that chronic illness and disability is a complicated topic, with lots of subtopics involved, and I realize that not everybody wants to share their experience. But if you feel like sharing your experience, let me know in the comments. What has been your experience with talking about your illness? Do you feel comfortable talking about it? Maybe you don't even feel comfortable leaving a comment, and that's totally okay. But if you do, share your experience and let me know what it took, if anything, to for you to feel more comfortable. And do you still feel do you feel comfortable, or maybe you don't? I still have my moments where I don't feel comfortable talking about it. I'm not in the mood to talk about it. So just because you feel one way in one moment doesn't necessarily mean that it's always going to feel like that. So let me know what your experience has been in the comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe and hit that bell icon so you get notified when I post more videos. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.